You're listening to The Real Deal Conversations, a podcast designed to encourage, inspire, and equip you by sharing real stories and meaningful conversations that bring real life to the surface. I'm your host, Megan Deal. Let's dive in. I'm back with Whitney Guison today. And here's our intro. Wait 1 second. Hold on.
We already messed up.
I'm Megan.
And I'm Whitney.
Whitney said earlier, she's like, do we have to do that again today?
Well,
And then I'm a people pleaser, and so I caved, and I was like, "No, we don't have to." And she's like, "Megan, we can do it."
That's been our last 10 minutes. We can do it if you want to do it.
It has been the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Whitney says something, and then I'm like, "Oh, wait, so maybe Whitney doesn't want to do it." And I'm like, "Oh, we don't have to do it." And Whitney's like, "Megan, it's your show. Do whatever you want.
Do what you want."
But that's the difference in Whitney and I love that. She said, "There's this one thing we're going to talk about. I'm going to give you guys the rundown of our topics today." Mm-hmm. But she goes, I don't even deal with that, so I don't even, whatever.
It's not and I deal with it. Oh, man. Now you're putting words in my mouth.
And I was like, okay, you can correct me in just a minute. But but basically I was like, oh, we don't have to have that on there. And she's like, Megan, again, it's your podcast. And I was like, oh, sorry, I'm just a people pleaser. I'm trying to read the room.
And I apologize for being me.
It's okay, guys. What we're going to talk about today: how to handle being left out, leading people who don't respect you, and when personal relationships conflict with professional decisions, and how to lead peers, not just subordinates. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have something because I have not experienced all of this yet. Yeah. So I'm actually very interested to know what your take is. Yeah. So that is what we got today. How to handle being left out. This is where Whitney is like, Whitney, how do you feel about it?
I just don't. I don't feel a way, you know?
Yeah. Being left out, I don't love it. And you have to know that as me being a people pleaser. Like, you have to know, like, because I'm like, I think I'm pretty likable and my intentions really just aren't bad. Mm-hmm. So why would you leave me out, you know?
I'm so awesome.
I know.
What the heck? I hear that. Yeah.
But like, for real. Like, I'm like, I would never, anyway. So like, okay, here's the thing. Like, I am so sensitive that my kids wanted me to play Fortnite and I had to kill a man in Fortnite, and I immediately stopped because I felt so bad. And they're like, this is not even a real person in the game. And I was like, I don't care. It made me feel really sad. So I genuinely am just like a, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get that at all.
Yep.
That feels extreme to me.
I know. It's like when Drew Barrymore, do you remember a long time ago when Drew Barrymore went on some talk show and she's like, I can't eat lettuce, it'll hurt its feelings. I'm not that extreme. But do you remember that?
No.
It was terrible.
No, I don't remember.
That was weird. That's weird. That's off the wall.
I don't follow like people like that.
I'm not like that
very often.
But I don't like to play kill games. Okay.
And on the flip side of that, I actually really like first-person shooter games.
Do you?
I do.
Oh my God.
So this is great.
Whitney, I swear.
So how do we make people feel comfortable?
This is so fun.
Okay, so here's my response about just the general feeling about feeling left out.
Yes.
Right? Who cares? Like, I don't care. Like it's one thing if my daughter comes home and she's feeling left out, because you know what I'd tell my daughter?
What?
Well, go find friends. You know, like, if those aren't your friends, they're telling you what kind of people they are and what the relationship is with you. So go find people who are telling you that they care about you and how they act. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
That's what I would tell my kids, and I have those conversations with them often. My 9-year-old is getting bullied, might be a strong word, but he's having some difficulty with a classmate. And it was a great opportunity for us to sit down and talk about, what does friendship look like? Because is that what it looks like? Does it look like being pushed? Does it look like being made fun of? Does it look like, is that what friendship looks like? And the answer is no, that's not friendship. So don't alter yourself to accommodate little jerk 9-year-old kid, you know. Go find those kids who are showing you friendship. And I think that is the same with adults. Yeah. Why let it bother you? Go find the people who are showing you their friendship. Yeah.
No, I do. Yeah. No, I agree. And and sometimes I'm actually the person who I don't leave people out, but I'll walk away from them, so to say. Yeah. Like, I'll just be like, okay, this interaction told me I don't want to further this friendship. It's not really even a friendship. It was like maybe a first or second interaction, you know, and I'm like, this really is not going to be my people. And I'll just just stop talking
Yeah.
to them. I mean, and I think that's fine.
Now, there's an element to this I just realized or just thought about, I guess, is professionally.
Mm-hmm.
There are times when you are left out of a room professionally that you need to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a whole different thing because
Yeah.
that's a different position play
Okay, so what's your thoughts
in
on
an
that?
organization. Honestly, that's a really hard one because, first of all, do you belong in the room you think you belong in?
Mm.
That's something you have to really figure out.
Yeah.
Is just because you think you should be there doesn't mean that the powers that be agree.
Yeah.
And if they don't agree, why? If
Yeah.
you think you belong, like there's some questions that need to be answered before you can really go all in and say, well, I belong there and I'm not there, and how do I get in there?
Yeah.
Versus I want to be in a room that I'm not currently invited into. What do I have to do to get there? Those are two different conversations, you know? So I think identifying why you want to be in that room, do you actually belong there? Or if you don't necessarily belong there yet, how do you get there? Like those are different things. And those open up questions you can have with other coworkers and supervisors or colleagues or things like that.
Yeah.
I just think if you're looking to attain a certain status or become or be invited into a certain threshold in your professional world, I think being very flexible, being very open, and seeking out those people who would know what does it take to become that, to be invited there to that table.
Yeah.
I think you just got to be open to that and actually do some footwork and figure it out.
Yeah. I also think sometimes there's tables that we want to be at that it's a good thing that we're not at them.
Yeah.
In hindsight, you
Yeah.
see that. And like right now, it's like you're thinking, yeah, but I really want to be with this people. If I can hang out with these people, it'll accelerate my career, da 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 da. But what you don't see is what's happening on the inside of their circle. And it's probably not healthy. It's not good.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing. And so it's one of those things where you also have to have a mindset of just because something doesn't happen doesn't mean that's my problem. Doesn't mean it's anyone's problem. It's just maybe a protection happening.
And also challenging your own motivations. I mean, I'm literally, I wouldn't say I'm dealing with this, but there's something in my professional world that I've had to stop and say, so how come I wasn't tasked with that? How come I wasn't invited to that? And I had to check my own motivations. And at the end of the day, when I really was honest with myself, my motivation was, well, the other person was, so why wasn't I? You know, that's nothing. That's a non-starter. You know, like the other person who was asked to do this thing is going to do a phenomenal job. And that doesn't mean that I wouldn't have done a phenomenal job. It just means that they're going to do a phenomenal job. And if my only reason for wanting to do it is because I wasn't asked, what kind of a motivation is that?
But when you're a competitive person,
Yeah.
like me, I'm a competitive person. I have seen that or dealt with that. I'm like, and again, same thing, Whitney. It wasn't even on my radar. And the only reason it's on my radar is because I know somebody else is doing it. And I'm like, if that other person's doing it, it should have been like, hello. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Again, yeah, it is. Like the root of that is not healthy. It's not kind. It's not productive.
Not worth pursuing.
No.
Yeah.
And the root of it is just my competitive behavior. And my competitive behavior can show my ugly side sometimes. It can. Yeah. And I hate that because I'm like, no, that's not who I want to be. But then sometimes I am that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I am that. So.
And for those who aren't competitive people, we have no idea how you deal with it.
Yeah,
so
no,
good luck.
seriously. I don't. But that is so true. I actually love that you say that because I'm like, if the only reason I want to do it is because somebody else is doing it, it's actually not healthy. I'm self-reflecting right now. Okay. So that and being left out, I tend to, if I'm left out, it hurts. It sucks because, again, I'm a people pleaser and I'm like, but I want to be in the thing. I do think the older I get, though, I will say this, just like quick self-reflection. I have started to be like, just build my own table. I'm just going to do it myself. Like if you don't, and then there's a part of me that is kind of like, little spiteful and like I'm going to do it and it's going to be great. You know what I mean? Like, okay.
Who didn't invite you onto a podcast?
So it's kind of like, all right, I'm just going to be strategic. And then that's like the little petty part of me. But then there is the bigger part of me, which is just, okay, if it's not going to work there, I know this is for my path, so I'm just going to create it myself.
Yeah.
And I also am going to treat people differently. Like, that didn't feel good. I don't love that. And so my table is going to look different, you know? And yeah. So being left out, I don't know. I don't think there's too much to say about it. I'm sorry if that's not encouraging for you guys, but that's how we deal with it.
Can I just say something else though too about that? Sorry. Now that you remember when I was like, hey, let's not talk about this.
Yeah.
So I don't disagree entirely on that. Well, my table will look different, but I do want to push against it in the sense that some of these being left out things, especially professionally or in certain areas or roles, your table may not look as different as you think, because if there's a certain caliber of a or a specific type of person that group or whatever needs, and you're not it, is that bad? You know, like sometimes we feel like we have to invite everyone to everything. Right. Now, should we be kind? Yes. But does that mean that everyone has a place everywhere that they want it? No, that's not how organizations work. Different organizations have different requirements that they need to meet, and they need people who can fill those spots. You know, board of directors or whatever, like networking groups. They need certain types of people. If they already have a Megan deal, they're not going to ask for another Megan deal. You know, and I think that there's some exclusivity is not a bad thing.
No,
I think it can improve an organization to a point. Now, not all organizations are that.
Yeah.
You know,
I think I'm talking about like the unhealthy.
Yeah.
Like people who just believe that they don't stink, their group is exclusive, and
you're talking about social.
Yeah,
exclusion.
But like kind of, I guess. But no, I mean, I'm talking about like the workplace, like networking workplace, people who just yeah, I am. You know, just are still cliquey. You still deal with that in networking groups or like the workplace. And it doesn't matter if you are qualified or not. And there is no other person there that has the qualifications.
They just don't like you.
Or you're not up to their standard. Honestly, I'm kind of saying this, sometimes I like build these situations, but I'm also like thinking of situations just as like other people have experienced, and I just know it because I'm just the friend that they talk to. And so I'm like, you know. But I particularly in those situations, I've dealt with it in like jobs that I have wanted, and I was just very, very misunderstood. And it was like almost like I was speaking one language and they were speaking another. And it was like, this isn't even. And then when I didn't get it, they were like, well, this is why. And I'm like, I didn't even say that. But clearly I said it. But I must have totally do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was like, wait, that wasn't my intention behind that. But something was said in order for them to understand it that way. And so then I had to go back and be like, okay, Megan, what did you say? How could you have said this better? How could you have been more clear?
Growth.
Yeah. And it did piss me off because I was like, that was a position that I really would have been great at. And I really did want it. That wasn't really for like unhealthy intentions. That was just misunderstandings. But I do think it happens. I do think it happens in unhealthy ways. I do think people forget what it's like to be at the bottom and make space for people. Yeah. When, putting people in rooms that they don't belong in, but still bring them in there.
Absolutely.
So that they can learn how to belong in those. But people forgetting what it's like to be more closer to the bottom of the totem pole. And so it's like, well, I don't even want to worry about them. I'm not bringing them in. And so I do think that exists. And I think like the table looking different for me would be like just treating people in a way differently than how
you've been treated.
That felt. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'm not saying it's a bad.
No, I'm totally with you. No, I'm totally with you. No, I'm with you though, because both things are true.
Yep.
Two things can be true. Yep. And so, and I think it's two different scenarios. But I don't, being left out, I don't know. And I think the older we get, I do think, even though I'm a people pleaser and I do care, I think it gets easier to care less. I will say that it does get easier to care less for me. I know you're just like,
whatever.
C'est la vie.
Yeah.
It does get easier. It doesn't last as long because I've lived enough life to know, like, okay, if these people didn't belong in my life, there's a purpose for it. Right. But other than that, I don't have much to say about it.
So apparently we have a lot to say about it. I will say too, I think that self-reflection, of course, I think that's all we ever talk about truly is self-reflection on this podcast, because I do think that there's always space to pause and say, was that me? What did I do? How can I improve? Now, sometimes you're going to be able to do that and say, I was pretty awesome. Like, I don't understand. It's not a me thing.
Yeah.
But I think that there's always space for how can I improve? What can I do differently? What did I do wrong? I think there's always space for that in any social setting or professional setting. Like, take a moment and reflect.
Absolutely. And two, I'm going to say this. I don't know why this thought just came to mind, but if you're with self-reflection, sometimes it is a you issue.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it really is a you issue. And as much as Whitney and I semi-joke about how awesome we think we are.
I mean, that's like a 90% joke. Or is it 90%, 10% joke, 90% true?
There really is like a lot of times where I have to stop and go like, that's a me problem. But it isn't always a me problem.
Yeah.
But be okay with acknowledging that
Absolutely.
that we're not perfect and you're not perfect. And there's sometimes that you're going to put your foot in your mouth and sometimes you're going to have to apologize or call the person or text the person and apologize. Also be okay with the fact that they may forgive you and it still may stop there. Boundaries, whatever. That is life and it's uncomfortable sometimes, but be okay with it sometimes being a you problem. Sometimes it's a me problem, guys. Okay. Right now, the load I have in my life is a me problem. The only person that could put the load in my life is me. Yeah. So it's a me problem.
That's a definitely Megan problem. Yeah, we all agree.
Leading people who don't respect you. I have not led enough in order to encounter this. So really, surprise, surprise, Whitney, my take on this is from Moses, I swear, but because he led and they didn't respect him. So that would be my take. But have you encountered this, or have you had a friend or somebody in your circle who you've kind of walked through them having this problem?
So I've encountered this.
Oh, really?
Many times.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I think I've encountered it in every management position I've ever held.
Okay.
There's going to be somebody who doesn't like you or doesn't respect you or thinks that you're an idiot or
And I'm not saying
smarter.
that nobody disrespects me or nobody thinks that. I just have not encountered actually knowing it and doing it because I'm really just kind of a solo person besides the coffee trailer, and I have like 2 employees.
So I honestly think that my take on this is pretty simple, but I also said that about the last question, the last prompt. And we talked for like 15 minutes about it. So my take on this is very, very streamlined, I guess, or simple. I think if you have somebody in your purview that doesn't respect you, that is when your why becomes the most important thing. And I swear I did not actually think about this until you just mentioned Moses again, and I apologize for our atheists in the world who are like, what are you guys doing? But if you think about it, like, yeah, I mean, Moses probably wasn't really deserving a lot of their respect in their opinion, but he had a goal that was clear, right? His motivation was external to their respect. And I think that's incredibly important in leadership. Your motivation has to be external to the respect of your team or whoever. It has to be a really good why, a really good goal that you are behind. And because if you realize that you're chasing after respect, you're never going to, that gives, first of all, that other person or group all of the power and all of the influence. We should never be chasing people's respect. What we need to be doing is chasing a goal worthy of following, right? And we too often our leadership, we lean into our position that we've been given, that's been assigned to us, right? Our leadership has been given to us by somebody with more leadership than we have. And we lean into that thinking that demands respect. That literally is the least effective form of leadership, is the leadership that is built on the assigned part of power. It's the worst way to influence people. It's the least effective way to influence people is, hey, I'm supposed to be influencing you because someone told me I'm allowed to do that. It doesn't work. So I think if you feel like you're being disrespected by people, you need to make sure that you have a clear goal and that your motivations are external to those people.
Okay, so as you're talking about that, there was a time, and it's when I ran for school board. And I had to do just that. I had to just constantly cling to this is why I'm doing it. This is why I'm doing it. And it was that group, this group of people who so very much misunderstood everything I said and kept saying that I was a Marxist and I wanted all this. And I was like, that is so laughable. Like if you knew me, you would literally be laughing right now. I wasn't laughing. I was at home it did not feel good. But yeah, so they did not. But just like you said, I just had to, because if I said anything, I didn't want to say anything to them because I didn't want them to feel like they had any control. I didn't want them, and anything I said isn't going, whatever they're saying and whatever I say back to them is not going to change the reason I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So why dig or make a bigger hole, And so I just stay quiet, and everything that I would do behind the scenes, I would just literally cling. I had this playlist, this worship playlist, and every time something stung, hurt, anytime that I was going, Lord, why am I doing this again? I would play that worship list and it would just be on repeat. And I just clung to that and then clung to the mission and the why. And so I agree with you. I also, with Moses, just to kind of dive into why they didn't respect him, I already got into one of the reasons in the past episode, so I'm not going to go into it. But I will say when he went to Pharaoh and said, and he had hyped the people up, he hyped the Israelites up. He was like, I'm going to go to Pharaoh. You're going to get released. We're going to get out of this, da, 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 da. And so these people had 400 years of no hope. All of a sudden they have a glimpse of hope, and it's kind of like borderline hope because it's like, who is this guy? And this hope after 400 years. So he goes to Pharaoh, tells him, hey, let the people go, da, 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 da. It backfired because Pharaoh then was mad. And he said, okay, so you're going to say this to me. Now the Israelites that you just told you're going to leave, get them out of slavery, we're going to make their load 10 times harder. So their life got even harder. Now they're mad at Moses. They're even telling Moses, we don't need you. Moses goes back to God, who told him, this is your mission. And it's like, yo, you literally just told me this is what to do. This is the outcome. Is this a freaking joke? Paraphrasing. And
I don't remember reading that in the Bible.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? Are you
point out where you read that? What verse?
Paraphrasing. But Moses did say to God, what's going on? Again, I don't have the verse in front of me, but that is paraphrasing. And but he had to stay the course.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is they do leave. They do end up respecting him. Again, there's still just people that don't listen, but they didn't respect him. And the person that was chosen to led, and his people got even more mad at him. And that is not something that is just in the biblical times. That is something that very much can happen today. You're leading, you're making the decision that you know is best, and your people are like, screw you. But you know the why.
So, and I think that why is going to get you through a lot. Now, I will say, your example with the school board is So me and my leadership role in the chamber is unique in the sense that I only actually have 2 direct reports. Everyone else I lead, I have no actual authority over. I have to convince them that I'm worth following, And that's the same thing with the school board type thing. Those are unique leadership roles where you have to convince people who you actually don't. They're not your subordinates. You have to convince people to follow you. And you're not given that. You haven't been assigned a leadership role. So it's outside of that assigned leadership role. You have to convince them I'm worth following. So with those kinds of people, if you find disrespect, that's a little bit of a different, I think, conversation. But if you're in a team and you're the team lead, let's just say you just got promoted and you're the team lead and they're just not drinking the Kool-Aid. I think that you need to make sure that you figure out where your goals are at and push it forward. And you can do that too with people that you don't have anything over. Also, if you do have that power that you've been assigned, you can shut down the negativity, at least to the point where you don't hear it. I think it's appropriate to be like, hey guys, we're not going to talk this way. Whatever it looks like, if you actually have that power. You don't when you're running for school board. You can't get on socials and be like, hey, can everyone please just be nice? Like every day that we're on social media, we see people asking for that and it doesn't happen. I can't just go to all my people and say, hey, all of you own your own businesses, but can you please just do exactly what I say every time I say it? Like, that's just not how it works, you know? But if you do actually have an actual assigned position and you have control over some of their working lives, you can lean into that a little bit more than running for school board or the chamber president, who just has to say, here's the goal. Let's all get behind this thing. And you have to have that personality and the driving force to be able to bring people along with you and convince people of this effort. And you're still going to have people who don't respect you, but it won't bug you as much because you are focused on the goals. You're focused on the mission. You're focused on whatever it is you're focused. That's bigger than though you're not chasing respect. Is what I go back to that. Don't chase the respect. Chase the goal. Chase the mission.
Okay, so I'm genuinely asking. I don't have an answer for this, but if the person, so that's the situation. They don't respect you, and so you're walking that line of, are they going to do what I'm telling them to do if they don't respect me? And then they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And then you have a coaching conversation. Like how does that work?
This is where things shift, right? Because yes, I can fire somebody because they didn't do what I asked them to do. I could. I kind of look like a tool. It kind of feels like a power trip. If it's reframed in this is the direction our team is going and you are not going there with us. This is where we're heading. You are fighting this culture we're building. You are not an asset to the team, to the company, to the organization anymore because you won't come with us on this journey. That is a different type of conversation than I told you to do this and you didn't do it 5 times, so now you're fired. Which you can have it both ways.
Yeah.
You totally can. I've done both kinds of terminations. Neither of them are easier than the other. Like, I'm not saying one's going to feel better or be more comfortable, but I think it does help if you can bring it external to yourself and your own power. And if the conversation, because also hopefully you're not having one singular conversation of, hey, you're fired right now because you didn't do things for the last 6 months. Hopefully there's multiple conversations in that time where you're inviting them along. Here's the goal. It's not me. This is what we're doing. This is why it's going to benefit us. This is why it's good for the organization. All these, like, come do it with us. That invitation is being offered over and over and over again. As they reject it, they're building a case for no longer fitting into the organization, you know? And so it just makes it just reframes it in a way that I think changes the conversations while they're building a case to get fired. And also, it looks a little different to your team. It's not, oh my gosh, I have this tyrant boss who just fires everyone when they have a differing opinion. They can't say that if what I'm doing is I'm letting people go who are actually hurting and damaging our culture or not aligning with our values or whatever it is, you know. It's external to you, and it has a little bit more punch and influence, I think, on people.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I also think 2 things can be true. I think somebody can be really good at their job.
Yeah.
And also not the most social, likable. I don't know what that was. It's my Scrabble
Did you have
game.
an idea?
It's my... I just started playing Scrabble last night.
Scrabble. You're like, wait, give me 1 minute. I'll be right back.
Okay. Anyway, but I do think 2 things can be true. That people can be really good at their job, but not a very social, like they're just not a personality. They're just not a personality. And it can also come off as disrespect, but it's just their personality.
But again, so I'm all about communication, right? And precision and being clear about how you communicate. Again, I don't want to fire somebody just because their personality, right? Like that, it doesn't feel complete, I should say.
Yeah.
I would rather make sure that somebody completely understands. It's not because you are quiet. It's because when you choose to speak, you're being mean to everybody, you know, like, and we value kindness here or whatever, you know, we value teamwork, and you refuse to sit on teams. You refuse to work with your people. You don't get things done on time, right? So if if these things are tied back to a value system you've built for this organization, that's leadership. I'm getting you to buy into a value system and a goal and a vision, not you need to listen to me. Because if we're good leaders, I'm going to leave that position at some point, and hopefully that team or that organization continues to grow. I have experienced and seen it happen in organizations that are built around a leader instead of a vision. And when that leader leaves, the organization struggles. Good leaders will never build the organization around them and run what they say, and we just trust what they say because they have the vision and we trust them. Great if we do. Like, that's wonderful if you have a trustworthy leader. I've had leaders I'm like, I will do anything you tell me to do. You don't have to tell me why, because I trust you. You want to be that leader, but give the why. Build it around the why. And then when you are removed and plucked out of that spot, that team is still working and functioning and growing and building because they have a vision bigger than you. And so that's all I mean about take it away from the respecting me. It's not about respecting me. Get that bigger vision. Pull everyone towards it. And then all of your conversations shift and change from a me versus you to a I really want you to participate in this with us.
And I think too, one of the things that, because I have seen this, that can be a barrier is when you have those conversations, hey, I just need you to do this, this area, we just need you to do more of. And then the person goes, well, that's not my skill set, or I don't like to do that, or I'm not comfortable, or da 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 da. It's honestly, okay, but see, it's one of my biggest pet peeves to hear. And this is why. Because just because it isn't doesn't mean it can't.
Yeah.
And it may be like, okay, if it is something very technology, I am terrible with technology. So legitimately, if I say, Whitney's smiling and laughing because she knows how bad I am with technology, but I can try, you can coach me, but don't put me in a position for it.
Yeah.
But if it is something like you're in a space where you have to raise money and you have a team that is there specifically to raise money, and then you have a team there that handles the other operations, they're on the other end of it, but you're down. Like you need, like, okay, this is we all need to come together. We all need to come together. We all need to rally. And then this one team's like, well, I'm not comfortable doing that. To me, that's unacceptable. To me, that's...
Why?
Because if we can ask other people who do not work there to do it, our own workers can do it.
Why?
Because the people that don't even get paid, we're going to ask them to step out of their comfort zone. But the ones who are getting paid, the ones who are responsible for the mission, you're not going to step out of your comfort zone. You're going to expect others. To me, do not expect from others what you cannot do for yourself.
What principle are you tying that to?
I don't know.
What's important there? What's the thing that's so important to your organization that you expect volunteers to do it and you expect people who are being paid to do it? That's the question. And I'm not saying you have to have the answer to it. But like to your point, the mission or the vision is we need to raise X amount of dollars for the purpose of this thing. You work here. Do you believe in that mission and vision? If the answer is no, go. If the answer is yes, then you're doing this thing that's making you uncomfortable. So it's external to you is my point.
Okay.
It's external to you and them.
Yeah. And the other thing too is I don't understand this mentality that just because it makes us uncomfortable means that we get an automatic pass.
Yeah.
I don't understand that mentality. Yeah. Do you know how many things I do, Whitney, that make me uncomfortable because I just know it's for the better of something? That doesn't mean you're going to put me in a position for it. That doesn't mean I'm going to apply for a position for it. But if it's in my sphere and I know that it can help and I know that me just stretching a little bit, okay, so maybe it doesn't make you comfortable now, but what if you do it and find that you actually can do it?
Which all of those are good points, I think. I just... Going back to the original thought, at least for me, is yes, push your people, but push them tied to something external to your relationship with them. That's all. As a leader, it shouldn't be, well, what if you love it? Because what if they don't? Do they get a pass?
Well, and if you don't love it, that's fine. But still, like, there's a mission, there's a goal, and we all need to rally. Like,
bingo.
That's the point.
So that is the point.
Yeah.
And that's the point that I'm saying for leaders is they have to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
Because if you're tying it to, well, you're being asked to do this and you might like it, but then when they don't, then do they get the pass? Like at what point do they don't get the pass. And the reason why they don't is because we have a hierarchy. We have a mission in this vision that we're trying to work towards. And right now it's all hands on deck. I'm not an events coordinator. I hate coordinating events. And that's a huge part of my job. I hired an events coordinator. I have a VP of operations. There are some events that's all hands on deck. That's literally just the phrase. We all hate this. Well, that's not true. One of us loves it. The rest of us hate it. This is not fun. This week's going to suck. But it's all hands on deck. And we do it because we have a bigger goal and a bigger vision that we're all working towards. And when you disconnect it from the person or from the like or dislike, or it's not my skill set or my strength, and you don't promise them that it might be one day, because that's not the point. The point isn't you might like it. The point isn't that you need to respect me and do what I say. The point isn't, it's none of those things. The point is, without you doing this, we won't accomplish this. And if you're not willing to help us, then we need to find somebody who is.
And if you're not willing to help us, then you cannot be a part of you can't, in my opinion, you cannot be frustrated that your piece of the puzzle is lacking because you're waiting for the person who was assigned that actual job to fulfill it. Well, if you see you need these numbers over here, and the person responsible for getting you those numbers is not getting you those numbers. Whitney, help me with some words here, because I am trying to be very vague.
I know, it's really vague.
It is.
How about you just talk about Moses a little bit more?
Okay. So, my thing is, because I really want to make this point, because this is something that happens in a lot. It happens, not just in certain spaces. It happens across the board, where somebody's like, I want you to get me these numbers, these volunteers, whatever. And then the person responsible is like, okay, but it's not coming in. And then you're just going to sit there and complain. Well, in your free time, help.
Yeah.
In your free time, rally. It doesn't make you comfortable. You don't like it. It wasn't what you were paid for, but you see that the organization as a whole is struggling a little bit. Chip in and help, not because you're asked, not because you care about the organization, and you care so much about the organization that you're willing to step out of your comfort zone for the betterment of the organization. That's my horse. That's my soapbox that I am on. Okay, guys, it is a frustration. It is a big pet peeve of mine when people tell me, because I'm like, you know what? Then get uncomfortable, grow.
Yeah,
because
you probably say it better. I know. Do you?
I would say it better.
You're like, hey, listen, loser.
I know.
Just grow already.
Just grow.
And I think that is where leadership really good leaders start to separate from not so good leaders.
Yeah.
Is in that situation.
Yeah.
I think great leaders, they've developed a team that is comfortable coming to them and saying, I recognize something's going on, but I don't know what to do. Or they've developed a team that says, I will step out of my comfort zone in this area because I see the vision, I see the mission. Yeah. The not so great leaders will default to, why aren't you doing this? I've told you to do this. I'm the boss. You're hurting us. You're the worst, right? Like, I'm going to write you. Not that writing up isn't something you can do, but I'm going to get you in trouble. I'm going to use punishment. Those moments of difficulty separate great leaders from mediocre or not so great leaders, in the sense that either their team is ready for it because they're a great leader and their team's already ready for the hard time. The hard time came and their team knows what to do, or the hard time came and everyone's in trouble. And there's a big difference there.
I don't know how I would say it, because I've never had to say it. I've only watched it.
And then maybe you'll like think back on this conversation and be like, how can I? Do I write them up? What did she say?
I'm a pretty soft approach. Like, I'm a pretty soft approach. I mean, that's just in my nature to just, by now.
Except for sometimes,
Megan, you said, Megan, I don't like how to handle being left out. I don't know where to go with that. And I'm like, oh, well, we can take it out.
Yeah. But on the flip side, you're obviously very passionate about it. So it's crazy to me that you're like, if it actually were to happen, I would just be quiet. Like, what? You're like on a soapbox right now. You're flailing. I mean, you're not right now. Like, you've already calmed down. But you were clearly very intense about it 2 seconds ago.
I know. I don't know how I would be.
And here's the other thing. You wouldn't know until you did it. You know?
No.
To your own admission, you're like, I haven't been in a lot of these situations as the leader.
I will say,
that's fine.
I have been in a situation not like that. Well, actually, yeah. So, with someone, and what I do is, because I don't want them to feel targeted. So I wait for a situation to happen, and I create an opportunity out of it to be like, see, in this situation, this is what I would have done. This is what they should have done. And then be like, so what do you think? And then I use it as a conversational piece so that they don't feel like it was necessarily targeted with them. Yeah. And then I just kind of use that as a way to, because I don't like making people feel bad. Yeah. And that's not, you guys go, oh, well, that's so nice. That's actually not a great thing, because sometimes you have to say the hard thing, and that's hard for me. So that's actually.
So it might be more of a strength than you think, though. There's a really good little communication. It's not a trick. I don't know what to call it. that, let's say you're in a staff meeting and somebody kind of mouths off at you a little bit as the manager. Silence will go a long way in those moments. Like, personally, as a manager, I have been in positions where some attitude comes my way in front of a bunch of people, and I don't respond because I'm not the only one that heard it. Everyone heard it. They felt it after they said it, probably. And letting it sit in discomfort is actually not a horrible thing, and then addressing it in private is not a bad thing.
So what do you do? So do you silence and then just kind of move on?
Yeah.
And then wait until after to...
It depends. I'm not saying always. There's never one solution to every problem.
Yeah.
So what I just described, you have to determine, is this the same person? Do they mouth off every time we're in a meeting? You know, like, are they not feeling the discomfort? Are they not recognizing what they're doing? Because if they're doing it over and over, I've had people who've mouthed off before, came back later and been like, I'm so sorry. I was having a horrible day, like all these things. And I get it. And in the moment, I never had to say anything to them. And this happens with good humans. That happens all the time because they are having a bad day and they're in a crappy mood and they're like, "Wah!" You know, and you're like, I'm just going to let that be and we'll discuss it later. Yeah. Don't even say it. Just like, and they figure it out themselves. If they're not figuring it out, you as a leader have to like, is it time for me to intervene here because they're not getting it?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying be quiet every time and just move on every single time.
Right.
You have to determine in your team with your culture, what's the vibe, what's the feeling, what's your relationship with this? I don't know. I mean, there's a million and one scenarios that could change what that might look like. I'm just saying that don't be so hard on yourself if you tend towards that. I'm going to address it later.
Yeah.
It's not the worst.
Yeah. No, Okay, wait. So, and I also like that you said, you know, you stop and think, is this like a norm for them? Is this not a norm for them? I like, because it is, I do think a good leader recognizes the different personalities, recognizes who people are, and they don't lump everybody into one personality and who they should be. And I mean, that's just not just in leadership, but parenting. I got 3 kids, not soon to be, but it's sometimes soon to be in the next year, a 4th, and none of the personalities are the same. Yeah. And correcting them does not look the same for any of them. How they get loved does not look the same because one loves snuggles, the other one hates snuggles, you know, and it's across the board in leadership, everything, marriage, da-da-da-da. So I think that is really good to recognize, oh, that's not normal. Right. They probably are having a bad day.
Right. Or that is normal, and we need to figure this out. Yeah.
Okay. When personal relationships conflict with professional decisions.
I want you to say more. I saw you sent that. So you sent that to me, and that's all you sent. And I'm curious what you meant. Just
so I don't write these prompts. We get these from Grace, and then we do our episodes off these prompts that we get from Grace. But my take when I read that is, okay, so I would think like somebody that I've grown close to in the workspace. I'm very close to them. Maybe it's one of my best work friends, and now I have to make a professional decision. Maybe I have to let them go. Maybe they have a correction. That's where my mind goes.
Prompt when professional decisions influence personal relationships?
When personal relationships conflict with professional decisions. Okay. And this is how, and I'm just telling you how what comes to mind when I read that prompt. What comes to mind to me is when you have a close relationship, you're in the workspace together, but you still have to make a professional decision. And now you have this wrestle of, I love this person, but they're not going up to in the workspace, their standard, that's what comes to mind for me. What comes to mind for you?
I'm actually thinking of a specific scenario, and I'm debating if it's one I share.
I know. Try to be vague like me. I'm telling you, being vague, like when Whitney and I tell stories, sometimes
we know everybody. So
I know.
It's like,
and then I know it's hard.
So let me back up before I lived here. That might be a better.
Okay.
I learned a very hard lesson in a leadership position about friendships with subordinates. And the hard lesson was I had to fire a subordinate who was a very good friend. That was rough.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, tears. We had done, we were friends, like in all the ways that you think that people are being friends. We were friends. And things were devolving, and I was like, you need to step up? Like, what is happening? And I knew them well enough to know nothing out of the ordinary was going on in their life. Like, and I gave them probably more time than I should have before letting them go.
Did you like, and here's my genuine curious question, because they were your friend, did you coach them in a little bit before, or did you just kind of let it go because you're like, maybe
you never
it's
let
just
it
like,
go.
Okay.
As a leader, don't let it go.
Yeah.
I don't like reviews. I don't like yearly reviews, except for the fact when I do yearly reviews with anyone, and this is something I've learned over the years, it's all, oh my gosh, you've been doing amazing in these areas. If there's anything that's corrective, it better be a summary or a follow-up on a previous conversation you've already had with me. People should already know. If they're on thin ice, icy, what? I don't know what I was saying. If they are drinking ices.
If they are in ICU in the workplace.
They should know. No, but real.
Yeah.
So I'm that kind of person that I don't feel like they should ever walk into a review and be like, I had no idea that my performance was less than. No idea. That's on me. If I'm their boss, if I'm their direct supervisor, and they didn't know that 3 months ago they made a huge mistake that's cost us all these problems, that's my fault. That's not they should not find that out in a review. They should not find that out in a write-up. They should have found that out in a conversation we had, followed perhaps by a write-up, because they know that write-up was coming when we had the conversation. So that's my stance. We correct things in the moment. Do you just think same thing as parenting? Like, why wouldn't you do that with other humans who are adults? I don't know what else humans would be, I guess. Adult humans also deserve what child humans deserve, So with that being said, yes, there was coaching involved because that's how my leadership style is this, you're not doing this job in the way you're supposed to be doing it. This is our expectation. This is the expectation. 2 weeks later, hey, not doing that. This is the expectation. For months, this would go on. Now, sometimes it wasn't every 2 weeks. Sometimes it was once a month. We'd check back in. This is not, you're not up to par in these areas. And these are they're not the kind of areas that we can ignore. Now, there's some things you can ignore as a supervisor. If they're really good at some things, you can be like, okay, you suck at this other thing, but that's okay. That was not the case here. So yes, there was a lot of prompts and training and discussions and this isn't enough and clarity. Do you not understand what's being asked of you? Here's what the bar is. Do you understand? Yes, I understand. Perfect. 3 weeks later, you said you understood. Where'd it go? How come you haven't done it in 3 weeks? Do you feel like you don't have enough? Like I put so much effort into this person that when I had to fire this person, it hurt so. I was almost angry by that point because I feel like I'd given them every opportunity, and they just kind of didn't care. Literally, when they got fired, they were like, "I didn't think that you would ever do this to me."
Yeah, and
I was like, "I'll tell you what, though." I actually am very close to my staff right now at the chamber. We're all close. When they know that I won't go to birthday parties. They know that I won't, if they invite me out, I don't go. I won't go out socially with them. Because of that one time that I was so close to somebody, which by the way, we were not best friends, but we were friends enough. I learned my lesson there. And so I keep a professional distance with people that I'm over.
And you know what I think, as you're saying that, the way I hear it is because some people could be like, oh, that, in a situation like that. And they're like, it's my friend. I can't let them go. It's my friend. But really, when you're on the outside listening, looking in, what I'm looking at is somebody who's your friend who doesn't care enough about your friendship that they're disrespecting you. It is. And so for anybody who's listening to this and you're dealing with a situation like that and you're kind of, that person where you are, but that's my friendship. I just can't make this decision. They're disrespecting me and you're letting it go for far too long because you don't want to hurt that friendship. Look at it outside view. Take yourself out of the tunnel and go, but they haven't been respecting this friendship for quite some time. You know, and it's hard to see that in the moment because you just see your friend.
Yep.
But it's like they didn't care enough about me.
Yep.
You know, and I'm not saying fire them because they didn't care about you. I'm saying
Right.
make the decision.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're not doing it because it's your friend, just tell yourself and remind yourself, even up to the point of having to make the decision, they weren't respecting the friendship anyway. I need to do what's right for the company.
Yeah.
And that sucks. But that is what happened. You had a friend who, and she said to you, I didn't think you were going to do it. And proof enough.
Yeah.
That the whole time.
Yeah, literally. Well, yeah, it was rough. Now, outside of that to me is kind of a very drastic example of.
No, I don't think so though, because I have seen it, and the person is still there, and it's because it gets so tricky for people, and I don't love that I'm saying this, but this is kind of a truth. It's especially hard for women because we are relational. We are sometimes more emotion driven, and we are caretakers. It's how we are wired. And so it's a lot harder for a woman when you've developed that relationship over the years, or especially if you've gone through different seasons in that workspace where you guys kind of clung to each other when it was real hard. Now it's not real hard. And now you're carrying all the weight. But because you went through those seasons, you look at that and you're like, oh, but we went through so much together. So maybe I'm just going to give him a pass. But you keep giving him a pass. And the organization is not flourishing. And you know that.
You know who it is.
You know who it is. And so I don't think it's an extreme. I think it's very common. I think it's more common than we would think because people, you're in the workspace 40 hours a week.
Yeah, you spend more time with them than your family.
That's going to be your people. And when they become your people, they're your people. And especially if you're a loyal person, that's hard. So I
will say, to kind of round it off, at least for me, that to me was kind of a dramatic example, but very relevant. Another, at least, again, this is a unique position in the chamber world because I work with so many people who aren't on my team. Like, they're not employed by the chamber. They're in the community. I think having clear policy and procedures will provide you with boundaries that friendships sometimes try and push against, you know? Because I have friends who call me like, hey, can I do this? I'm like, no. Well, why not? Like, because I wouldn't let anybody else do it. That's why, you know? Yeah. Because it's the rule for everyone. And then, again, it removes it from me. Yeah. It's not a me versus them thing. I'm not saying yes or no, but this is the rule we have around this thing. It doesn't matter who you are or how much we hang out. Yeah. This is the rule. Yeah. And so I think having clear policy and procedures around specific things where you might anticipate having problems, that way you can lean into your policy and procedure and away from your relationship is very important. And that is true probably of the situation I just described too, but I didn't have any of that. I mean, I could have fired them based on policy and procedure. And our friendship mucked it all up, you know? Yeah. But I think just leaning into those ready-made boundaries that exist in policy and procedure and removing it from our relationship to, well, I have to abide by this thing is actually very helpful.
And I think somebody had said that they do this. I forgot who it was or where they do it, but they said they have this summary of kind of how they are as a leader, how they are as a person, how they function, and they just kind of have it in like a little binder. And for new employees, they give it to them. And it's not to be like, this is me, learn all about me, but it is like...
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's not in like a cocky way. It's in like okay, this is just what to expect.
This is how you approach me. This is not a bad idea.
Yeah. And to have those boundaries very clear in the beginning, I think that's fantastic. And, you know, learning from and saying, this is not personal. This is not because I'm not a relational person. This is actually because I value this place. And because I value our mission, this is why this is in place. And I really liked that. I was like, I only have one or two employees at the coffee trailer. So for me, that's like, I don't need to do that. I can just tell them. But I would say if you do have a large organization, I think it's a fantastic idea. Have this, okay, in these situations, this is typically how I respond. And so that people are not shocked. And then you just know, I loved it. But
that's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. So our last one is how to lead peers, not just subordinates. I'm going to let you start on this one.
I mean, I feel like we've kind of been talking about this a little bit. It's been a strain kind of through the whole conversation today.
Yeah.
So ironically, I'm actually putting together a keynote talk on leadership for She Leads in Branson.
Okay.
A little shout out.
Yeah.
I think it's like next week. So, so you don't have your ticket. Is it next week? I don't even know what it is. It's sometime this month.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the title of my talk is Unexpected Leaders, because it kind of talks about if you don't do it, somebody will. Like somebody will lead, whether it's you or not you. There's a lot of natural leaders out there in the world, right? They come into our teams and they are brand new in their positions. They are in our friend groups. They are in our families. The people who just do it. That's who people turn to for decisions. When everyone in the friend group is like, we don't know what to do, they turn to that person, right? Or that person takes over and pushes us all in a direction. They're all over the place. So I think the question is, do you have to lead your peers first? Because you may not have to. I don't know in what setting this is. In my job is to lead colleagues who do not work for me. I've worked in other positions where I had other colleagues who were lateral to me in the same level of management, but not under me, not over me, and we had to collaborate. And that's difficult to do. I think again, removing the relationship and focusing on goals and focusing on missions and visions goes a long way. Also, if you don't have to, if someone is leading and they're doing well, let them do it. I mean, that's a big thing for me. I'm the kind of everyone thinks that I'm this huge extrovert. I don't like, everyone's like, well, invite Whitney. I will only take the stage
100%.
if no one else does.
Yeah.
If there's somebody on the stage, have fun, have at it. If you are leading this group well, high five. Let me know what you need. I don't need to be there. Now, if you're doing it poorly,
Yeah.
that's different. But also, if you're doing it poorly, your peers are looking for a new leader. So I think if you have a mission, a vision that everyone wants to get behind, you're the leader. You're it. You'll do it.
Okay, I have a question, and I'm a little sidetracking this, but what do you, so leading peers, hiring somebody that you are friends with before you hire them.
To be directly under you?
Doesn't have to be directly under you, but in your organization, and you are still higher up, so they may not be directly under you, but you're still somebody that answers to. Do you think it's a good idea? Because then, and the reason why I'm asking is because we're talking about in the workplace how it can get sticky because people can abuse the fact that that's somebody that you have a relationship with. And then it gets sticky. Do you think that you should but what if they're like super qualified?
I think you can hire them if you are a good leader. You can create the boundaries.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it breaks. The reason why you're asking that question is because we've all seen the leaders who don't know how to manage those boundaries. If you can manage the boundary, so for example, you're a really good friend who's in that department over there, 4 levels down from you that you never interact with at work, comes to you and is like, oh my gosh, my boss. You cut that off, right? Like, that's not what we don't get to go there personally. You have a structure, you have an organization to follow through with. I don't want to hear you complaining about your boss or whatever. Now, a different hey, I'm having issues with my boss as my friend. Could you help me work through this from my perspective? Like, I think there's areas where you can say, if you want my opinion, I'll give it to you. But if you expect me to go and do something at work for you, no way. So I think if you can create the appropriate boundaries, go for it.
So like at the beginning, when they say, hey, I'm going to apply for this job, you say...
You don't have to say anything.
Well, you don't
just
think...
do it.
Yeah, but like you don't think that you should say, they're applying for it and then say, okay, but just so you know, I support you applying for that. That'll be great. I hope you get it. But in the workspace, do you think like those boundaries should be set before?
I think you'll know if you have to set that boundary with that person.
Yeah.
And I think if you have to set that boundary with that person, maybe you don't want them working in your organization. You know what I mean? Like if that's the person that you're like, I better tell them that I'm not going to be pulling strings for them. Is that the person you want? Now, should you not? Or I don't think you shouldn't hire them because if they're qualified.
Yeah.
Don't be like, well, but we're friends and I work 4 departments away from them. So that's wildly inappropriate. It's not.
Yeah.
People do it all the time. but don't start stepping into it. Like, if you guys are both those people, if you're going to be that leader that's like, well, I'll go pull strings, then you just suck, you know?
Yeah.
And if they're going to be asking for it all the time, they suck. And it's
Yeah.
going to be a bad situation. Nothing that you and I say right now, Megan's going to change that, you know?
Yeah.
But if you're a good leader, that's what people I think don't fully comprehend about boundaries. You don't have to verbalize the boundary to set the boundary, you know? You can. Like, that's definitely one option of creating a boundary. But other options of creating a boundary are simply ignoring something or not engaging in something. Like, there's a lot of ways to set boundaries. So if your friend gets hired, you may not even know, depending on where you're at in the organization, if you're not over hiring or firing in that department. Or if that happens, you know, with your HR manager who you're over, but you don't look at the people they're hiring and firing. You may not even know that your friend just got hired. I don't think you have to sit down with them and be like, listen, here's what you can and can't bring me. I think as they bring you things and you say, that's not for me, they'll figure out what they can and cannot bring you, you know?
I think a good friend anyway would not put you in a situation
I agree.
where I deal, like, my kids are in sports, and for other things, I talk to coaches sometimes, and I will never talk about my children, because I don't ever want them to feel like a pressure or something. But I think that's too for friendships in the workplace or just in general. A good friend is not going to put you in a position where you have to put a boundary up.
Right.
Sometimes it is accidental.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, I didn't know that wasn't, you know what I'm saying? So like, there's grace there. Like, I'm not being very black and white, but a friend who knows what they're doing and are choosing themselves over you, essentially, it's not a good, you know.
It's not a good situation. And I think those boundaries will come up pretty naturally if you're good at your job.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh, and if you're in this situation and you're worried about that person that you're semi friends with approaching you about something that you don't want to have to deal with, they probably will.
Yeah.
like if you're already worried about it, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
So you might as well just prepare yourself, or how will you handle, like, in your own mind, how are you going to handle that when it happens?
Yeah.
What does the boundary look like? How do I, because you can very gently create a boundary.
Yeah.
Now, if they're jerks, they'll push it. They're not going to push it in the workplace, because if you're truly over them, they're not going to push you because you're over them in the workplace, you know?
Right.
But yeah, I think boundaries are incredibly important for leaders if you want to be an effective leader. And I say that, though, full disclosure, I feel like I have a really good relationship with the people that I'm directly over. And I love that I have a great relationship with them. But there are boundaries in place, because I never want to find myself in a position where I'm not making changes that have to be made for the good of an organization simply to preserve a relationship.
Okay, so I am going to add something to our list, because this conversation just kind of made me think of it. Do you think that leaders considering boundaries should be accessible to everybody?
What do you mean by everybody?
Do you think that, so like, especially in the networking space, people are always like, hey, can we have coffee? Can we do this? Can I pick your brain? Can I do this? Can I do this? And, do you think it's okay for leaders to have a boundary of, I am not accessible to all?
Yeah.
And I think so too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think so too. And I think it rubs people the wrong way. I know it rubs people the wrong way.
I didn't know that.
And because they take it like, oh, well, you won't meet with, like, you're just too good to have coffee with me, or da-da-da. And I know that to be true. And I don't think that's it at all. For me personally, I have to have boundaries on my time, because I will burn out. I will overexhaust myself. And it's not because I don't think what you want to talk about is important. It's not because I don't think you're important. It's because I am one human being.
Yeah. So an example of this, and as a chamber president, I have a lot of draws on my time.
Yeah.
And this is with a smallish chamber. I mean, we're not tiny by any means. We have over 400 members. You know, like, we have I got a lot of people to manage. And I had someone connect with me on LinkedIn. Oh, I don't even know. Early days. And this is actually what taught me this little lesson. Because back then I was like, I'll just meet with everybody.
Yep.
And this person connected with me on LinkedIn. They wanted to grab coffee. We went and grabbed coffee. And it was one of the least productive hours of my entire life. And should I only do it to make somebody join the chamber? No. But they didn't have any interest in joining the chamber. They honestly kind of had a lot of suggestions for me. I didn't know who this person was. They weren't a member of another chamber. Like, they were just like, you're a human, I'm a human. Here's all my thoughts on what's wrong with the chamber. And I was like, I don't want to spend time doing that. If I'm going to be having an hour-long conversation with somebody, you better believe it's going to be somebody who's actually involved in what I'm doing, and not some Miranda who's just trying to connect with me,
Right.
and potentially sell me something, because that happens a lot. I 100% think that leaders have to determine who has access to them, because there's people out there who lead a lot more people than I do, and who have to manage a lot more than I have to manage, and you have to put up barriers, or else all you're doing is fielding phone calls and emails, you know, and then you get nothing done. So.
And then you're not, yeah, exactly. And I think you're spread so thin that the actual main mission that you were focused on in the first place is now watered down because you're so tired, because you have just everywhere. That's something I had to learn. And I just started finally saying no. Yeah. And,
something I've started saying to some people who reach out is, hey, if you'd love to have a discussion about joining the chamber, I'd love to sit down and talk with you about that. And that weeds them out, because they're like, oh, I don't want to join the chamber. Great. I don't have time then.
I will say I can do a 15-minute phone call. I can do a 15-minute Zoom call, but I cannot do a coffee. And the reason why is because 15 minutes, whatever you need, it probably can get wrapped up in 15 minutes. If you have to pick my brain on something, I promise you it can probably get wrapped up in 15 minutes. There's not a lot to pick sometimes, okay? Yeah.
Sorry, I agreed with that too quickly. I'm like, yeah!
But really, this could be wrapped up real soon. Yeah. If you're asking me to coffee, it's because you're wanting to... It's like an hour of fluff.
Well, they kind of want to get to know you, which you and I... Maybe I shouldn't lump you into this. I hate get to know you coffees.
I know, it's terrible.
So if everyone's listening,
I know.
I hate them.
Me too.
I hate get to know you coffees. I'm like, invite 4 other people, please, and we can actually plan something and do something. Because I'm like, tell me the worst experience of your life and let's dissect. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Not, where do you work?
I know.
Wow, the weather.
I know.
Because that's like within 5 seconds of get to know you coffees, it's like, look at that sun. It's so sunny.
But that's what a majority of them are.
Oh, I hate it.
And I think the other thing too is because, again, this kind of goes back to something that we've talked about before. They think that because of the things you've done, you probably have access to a lot more than you do.
Okay, the other thing is you probably do have access. But I'm not going to give it to you, you know? So.
And so getting to know me, and I do, I think this is a lot, it's that networking mindset. I get it, guys. If I get to know them, if I become their friend, I'm going to get access. And it's like, I can't give access. I just can't. And I'm not saying, that sounds, honestly, it feels a little arrogant to say that, but I'm being very genuine and real. It's something that I have had to field and deal with. It's like, I know what your actual intention behind this is.
I know what you're going for, and I'm not giving it to you.
Yeah. And it's like, and a lot of the people that I know on a very short-term basis. I do interviews with some people. I'm not friends with them. Yeah. I'm not. And so what you're doing, I can't give you, but what it is going to do is take an hour out of the day that I genuinely don't have. Yeah. And so anyway, so I just wanted to ask you, do you think leaders, because I don't think so either, but I think a lot of people think that they deserve it. And that's frustrating.
Tell me why you deserve to come talk to me right now.
I know.
Because no.
I know.
I guard my time even more closely than a lot of people do. I mean, I have very hard boundaries set about working hours because the chamber world is so wild. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
I could be working until 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night one day and all weekend the next weekend for, I could get a phone call at 7 o'clock in the morning about something that's going on or 7 o'clock at night on a Sunday. There's really no set schedule. And because of that, I have very tight parameters as to how much time I'm actually spending in my office so that I have time for my family. And I guard that. I'll take phone calls, I'll answer emails, but I'm not sitting in my office or going and taking meetings in certain times. And not everyone has that. Not everyone has little kids that they're raising at home. So whatever time they have is free. That's not me. I want to be home when my kids are home. I want to raise them and be a part of that. Not everyone's there. Maybe in 15 years, I can just go have coffee whenever I want to with whomever I want to, and I have all the time in the world. But I don't have that right now. So I'm very careful about my time as it is. And then on top of that, my members get my time. If when I'm meeting with people, it's going to be with members or potential members. Those are the people that I spend my time with. And then partners that are chamber members, our community partners, like the schools and the city and the different taxing districts and the count. Like those are the people that I'm sitting in meetings with, planning, trying to figure things out, building relationships with, because I have to do that for my job, But the random person that just wants to talk about the weather and maybe get my help with something because I have somebody's cell phone number in my cell phone that they want, no, that doesn't work.
No, I'm with you. So in summary for that, friends, if you're on the end of like being spread completely thin because you keep saying yes,
say no.
Yeah, say no. It is okay to say no. Maybe this is your freeing moment to know that you're allowed to say no.
I see T-shirts in our future.
I know.
Just say no.
Just say no. And if you're on the end where your feelings are hurt because someone is telling you no, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. It's twofold. There we go. But I think somebody really needed to hear today you're allowed to say no.
Just say no.
And it's okay. And it doesn't make you a bad person. And they may go tell all their networking friends that you told them no and you're a stinky person.
Okay.
Who cares?
Okay.
Who cares?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just say no.
Yeah. There you go. All right. This was a good one today, I think. This is always good. I always enjoy doing this podcast with you.
Yeah. It's a good one. Today was good topics. I liked leadership
a
lot.
Fun. Yeah. And we Moses was like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It was like super cut out. It's good. Okay. All right, guys. Whitney and I will be back. Whitney loves to know what you loved about the episode.
I do, actually. I really want to know.
I don't. So don't tell me.
I like feedback, so give it to me.
Give Whitney the feedback. She enjoys that.
Yeah, I love feedback.
Yeah.
I live in a world of feedback. I want to know what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. If certain people
I want to know what I'm doing right, but shut up about the wrong stuff.
Yeah, come on now. Okay. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.